welcome to another interesting edition of Environment Weekly on Global Television. My name is Ubon Osoro, your host. Today on the show, we are going to be looking at energy transition and how it affects Africa and the climate change movement, and how we can transition to purer and cleaner energy even in Africa. There are a lot of concerns about the fact that Africa may not be able to transition, maybe because we don't have the right information and the right strategies. But all of this will be unboxed today on the show. But before we get right into the show, let's look at some of the environment news we're able to track for you this week as we bring that to you. The environment news segment on Environment Weekly on Global Television.
Nigerian losses 10 billion naira annually to post-harvest losses, Kyari. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, says Nigerian losses 10 billion annually to post-harvest losses. Kyari disclosed this on Monday, September 15, 2025, during the inauguration of the Green Legacy Rural Community Agriculture and Infrastructure Network, PULSE, Center Initiative at Kandire Community, Birnin Kudu local government area of Jigawa State. Delta State to invest in ranching, renewable energy for industrial development. Delta State government says it will invest in ranching, renewable energy for agricultural and industrial development in order to create jobs and rejuvenate the state economy. The State Commissioner for Works and Public Information, Mr. Charles Anyagu, stated this while briefing newsmen on the outcome of the state's recent investment mission to Brazil. Abia revives sanitary inspection, launches 3 planting campaign. The Abia State government says the revived sanitary inspection of compounds is not for taxation or punishment, but to ensure residents maintain clean surroundings. It introduced stipend for sanitary inspectors to encourage diligence and discourage extortion during visits to homes, villages and communities across the state. Aftermath of devastating flood, Osun to conduct on-the-spot assessment. Governor of Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke, has expressed his sympathy with the people of Iwo on the devastating flood that occurred on Friday, September 13, 2025. Due to hours of heavy rainfall, assuring the people of ongoing effort to prevent future occurrence of the natural disaster. Governor Adeleke views the huge personal losses suffered by residents as a result of the flooding incident, noting that his administration will be taking nothing to chance to safeguard lives and properties of the people. Forum urges nations to integrate ocean into climate plans. At the New York City Climate Week event on September 22, 2025, Ocean Conservancy, the Ocean and Climate Platform, and World Resources Institute will push for progress on a landmark international initiative to dramatically scale up ocean-focused climate action in countries' national climate plans. Launched earlier this year by France and Brazil at the United Nations Ocean Conference in Nice, the Blue NDC Challenge calls on global governments to place the ocean at the heart of their climate plans. Nationally detained contributions, or NDCs, ahead of COP30, which Brazil will host from November 10th to 21st, 2025.
All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Environment Weekly on Global Television. My name is Bon Osoro, your host, and today we have joining us Mike Terunwa, PhD, who is the Executive Director of the Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation, GISEF, popularly known as GISEF. He's worked extensively on global and community-based climate solutions, and today we'll be talking about climate change, energy transition, and the road towards sufficiency. Welcome, Mike Terunwa. Thank you. I know you are not really a big fan of that, so welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Just a background story. myself and Mike, I got to know him some 7 years ago when I was a 200 level student at the University of Uyo, and wanted to do a climate change event, and that was how we got to know. So he's really been involved in climate over the years, and we've had interactions over the years, and he's been my mentor. Done a lot of work, guiding me and all of that. Welcome, Mr. Mike. We're happy to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, and good to see you and the progress you are making. Anywhere you are promoting the environment, so thank you.
You taught us. So let's talk about the work you do. So before we get the work you do with yourself and how it concerns energy transition.
So yes, climate change is no longer abstract. It is actually a lived reality that communities and the nation at large is facing the impact. From the stories that were shared a few seconds ago, you would see the impact of flooding already in the country. The visuals that were shown was from Oyo State, Osun State, yes, Osun State. And there are others across the country that are not even covered. I know about the Zaria flooding last weekend, and a family that lost 2 young daughters, and several others. When you rewind to 2024 to 2025 early this year, farmers have lost over 1.5 hectares of farmlands. So the impact of climate change is already here with us. It's not theory, it's not a textbook thing, it's not a white man's thing as we used to, presume it to be. So for my work and the work of my organization basically is mobilizing and supporting communities to build climate resilience and build climate adaptation. And when it comes to energy, of course, the energy situation in Nigeria, where the statistics say about 40% of the population. Now, when you see 40% of our population, you are looking at about 90 to about 100 million persons that have, don't have reliable access to electricity. And so part of what my organization does is also to provide renewable energy access to communities that do not have. This is not a business, but also promoting the adoption of renewable energy. So we call that initiative Solar for Communities. We first began that initiative with the Solar for Internally Displaced Persons camps. There are so many IDP camps across the country, and many of these camps at night are completely dark, and the people live in darkness and all, and we felt that as part of our way of giving back is to provide solar light to some of these communities. So in the area of renewable energy, that's some of the things we have done, but of course we keep advocating for the adoption of renewable energy, especially solar, as a quick fix to the Nigeria energy gap, especially in rural communities.
All right, so talking about the energy gap we have in Nigeria, statistics says that about 30% of Nigerian households are still without energy, and transitioning to solar, is it the right thing to do at this time? We have the capacity, and is solar even a clean energy? Because there are conversations about creating panels and mining and all of that. I like that you share your expertise with it.
Yeah, so yes, renewable energy remains the quickest way Nigeria can attain energy security. We know how much we are generating at the moment. Everything is hovering within 4,000 to 5,000 megawatts for several years. And when you look at the population of the country and how much we are generating, it's actually very, very small, right? When you compare Nigeria to countries like South Africa, with a lower population, they are already doing up to 40,000 megawatts and above. You look at Ghana, a small country here. We are not neighbors, but sometimes we feel we are neighbors. With a population of 31 million or so, they are doing around 4,000 megawatts. So that's why when Nigerians travel to Ghana, they say, oh, they have constant electricity. But when you look at our population and our energy system, which is generation transmission based, is anytime we generate high, you have the grid has collapsed, because it's not built to accommodate, to carry that volume or capacity of electricity. I know that what we have in the country at the moment, we are designed to generate about 14,000 megawatts, but as it is, we can't. Even if we do, there is nowhere to actually transmit it to the people. So if you look at the nature of our communities in Nigeria, you discover that we have cluster settlements here and there, and so it becomes very expensive transmitting electricity from one town to the other and all. And that's why we think that renewable energy, especially solar, is a quick fix to this energy poverty that the country is facing. Now, does solar work? The answer is yes, it does, because there are examples to show elsewhere that it actually does work. And when we say mini grid, we are not just talking of small solar panels on your roof. We are talking of a solar farm, that can power an entire community or an industrial area. Is solar sustainable? I would say yes, it is. What is the material used in producing solar? Is silicon. Silicon basically sharp sand. We have it here in abundance, right? Now, when you talk about the other accessories, that's where the issue would come. And the issue is because we as a country, we are not adopting international standards to what we do. They are standard operating procedures for mining. And so when we are mining lithium and we just go open the landscape, and don't consider the communities, their livelihood, destroy all the arable lands, and we just feel the best we can do is to build one classroom in the community, and that's it. And then employ the community members as security guards in the company, and we feel we've done all. And I think that's where we're missing it. So I am quite pleased that the government just a few days ago, I heard about this unique opportunity where the Chinese and the Nigerian government are forming a partnership to begin the production of lithium batteries in Nasarawa State. If this comes to light, then it will help bring down the cost of some of the renewable energy accessories. But that's, again, has been the issue. The technology is not ours, but it's not rocket science. It's something we can actually, adopt and do. The potential for renewable energy in this country is actually very huge. Abundant sunshine, abundant wind, even abundant water resources for hydro, small earth dams here and there, that will, apart from providing electricity, will also provide jobs, provide irrigation to farms and all. So yes, renewable energy is the answer for us if we look at it in terms of investment and not just looking at it in terms of handouts to people. And that's where we always
There's also questions about fund and affordability at the moment, because sometimes maybe to get a 5 kVA, you could get it maybe that time for 200,000, 300,000, but now it's over $1 million. So there's also the question of affordability. People who couldn't even afford, to channel energy to their homes at the time, will they be able to afford this, looking at the minimum wage of Nigeria and all of that? So I'd like that you speak to affordability and challenges that people may have getting it accessible. Like you mentioned, your long-term goal is not just providing or Nigeria as a whole, providing renewable energy as handouts. It should be a standard. So how do we get the people to fund? Because even with our power lines, there are complaints that a lot of Nigerians don't even pay the bills. And they could also argue that they don't see the power. And so I like that you put all of that into context.
Yeah, so the issue of affordability is general inflation that the country is experiencing because of the exchange rate. And when you see that lots of the solar accessories actually come from outside the country, so we're using dollars, and so with that, the prices of everything has actually gone up. But if we begin to, produce locally, the prices will actually go down. The fact is that the government has banned the importation of solar panels. Some of us are against it. Yes, we believe that we should transition to a point where we'll be self-sufficient. But when you ban the importation of a product we are not producing, you are creating room for higher prices and smuggling, which will definitely happen, right? So we need to produce. Yes, I agree 100%. That will bring down the price. That will also standardize the system, because a lot of people, apart from the issues around affordability, think that solar does not work or cover their needs because of some of the substandard solar panels and solar accessories and products we import into the country. So but when you import solar panels or accessories from Europe, what you see or what you have is different from when you import from Asia. So that again calls to question the role of the Standard Organization of Nigeria. They have a responsibility to play to ensure that everything that comes into the country is of standard, of global standard, and not made for America and made for Europe and then made for Africa and Nigeria. Because when you check the two, you see a battery that is here is different from what you may find elsewhere. So we must ensure that those standards are there, and once they are, you will see that the reliability of the product. You are buying a panel. Ordinarily, a solar panel should last you at least 25 years. The batteries averagely 5 years plus before you think of changing. The good thing with the batteries now is that it's recyclable. So when your batteries are off, these guys, they buy from you, and give you new ones and all. So yes, those questions are there, but with every new thing, the challenges will always be there. But as time go on, it will change. When electric cars came, everybody was like, how does it work? But most countries now have adopted the use of electric cars. Let's even talk about manual cars and automatic cars. When it came, a lot of the older generations said, no, I prefer the manual car. But check out the number of manual cars you have on the road now. They are actually very few. And one thing that Nigerians have actually done in this area of energy transition, which I must commend, is the adoption of some energy efficient systems. So you go to every home, you discover that because of the electricity bill in code, everyone has changed their bulbs. They are no longer using the old one, where everyone is using energy efficient bulbs and all. So that's slowly how transition happens. When the removal of fuel subsidy happened, as an environmental person, I was like, yes, it's good for the environment, because you check out the number of traffic, the number of cars on the road has dropped and all, and then you find out that a lot of people adopted the use of CNG. So many cars. If we check 5 cars in Abuja, 1 or 2 are powered by CNG, which is cleaner than PMS.
The conversations are on that, Doctor. Well, let's go for our first break, and when we're back, we're still having Dr. Mike Terunwa, who is Executive Director of Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation, as we look at energy transition. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Environment Weekly. My name is Ubong Usoro. We have Dr. Mike Terunwa with us as we are discussing energy transition. Doctor, go ahead.
Yeah, so the renewable energy actually provides an opportunity for Nigeria to actually be an energy exporter. So instead of exporting just crude oil, PMS, and gas, we can actually export energy using the West Africa power pool, as an opportunity. As you know, Nigeria currently supplies power to Niger Republic and all. So if you look at northern Nigeria and all those areas that have been converted, that desert has actually encroached on, provides a fertile ground for solar park. The West Africa Energy Pool actually had a plan to build a solar park in Mali, but the issues with the military and all. But we have the opportunity within that part that we can actually power the north, one part of the country, and also still export energy, to other countries. Yeah. So it is not just about we are exporting gas and oil. There are also these kind of big opportunities, because when you look at the entire West Africa, the issue of energy poverty in Nigeria cuts across West Africa, where you still have close to 40%. And when you look at the statistics for West Africa, Nigeria is half the population of West Africa. So when you say Nigeria does not have reliable energy access, you look at the population of West Africa, you actually saying it is Nigeria, because when you go to small countries like Togo, like Benin, like Ghana and all, they all have electricity, and this has actually been proven to work, where countries actually share grid, the grid connection, and then the
US, Canada,
yes, they do that. Even in West Africa, you have that line where Liberia, Sierra Leone, and all, they share, power, which is similar to what we do with Niger over here. So when countries do this, it helps, our grid collapses, the other is working, and then we keep, sharing, buying and selling and all. But then as a superpower, we need to be the real superpower. And the superpower should not just be on crude oil alone, but on renewable energy. We will have that huge advantage.
Okay, Doctor, before we leave, I'm going to be asking the last question now, and just on top of my head, I want to ask, in terms of climate justice, how should Nigeria balance economic growth and energy access and even environmental responsibility?
Yes, so economy is for who? Climate action is for who? All of these are for people. It's for the citizens. When you talk of how many megawatts of electricity does Nigeria have, megawatts are not just figures. It is meant for the people and the citizens, right? So if you are not taking climate action, and you are looking at the politics of climate change, and you are not taking advantage of the economy of climate change, then your country will be left behind while other countries are progressing. And that's why the country needs to strike that balance. Yes, we need to progress. Yes, we need to develop, but we must develop sustainably. If we don't, look at the impact of climate change on our food systems alone. Now we are importing food. And what are we doing? We are putting our farmers at big risk, and that is impacting everything within the country. So we must balance the two. It is the economy. The economy is about the people. It's about the lives of the people.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Mike, for coming on the show. We really do appreciate your wealth of knowledge. And that's much we can take on today's edition of Environment Weekly, where we highlight environmental issues and seek expert solutions to solving Nigeria's environmental problem. And today we looked at energy transition and how Nigeria can transition into using cleaner energy, which is better for all of us. Dr. Mike, is it cheaper?
It is cheaper, it is actually affordable, and it's reliable because it's from
those are actually contested by a lot of people. But thank you, Doctor, for coming. And like I always say, remember that the environment is the only thing we can leave for our generation yet unborn. We need to make sure that we do our best and contribute our quota to having a safer and cleaner environment. Until we come your way, same time next week, keep being an environmental lover and keep doing what you need to do to sustain our environment. My name is Upon Musara. I'm saying bye for now.